previous videos, I touched on the differences between term life and whole life. What I really want to talk about today is a little bit different. I want to kind of dispel the myth about which one is better than the other and the other is better than that, comparing and competing. Because you as a client have an individual and a personal need based on your circumstances. So my job as your insurance consultant is to ensure that whatever your personal needs are, that those needs are met. And maybe the Joneses next door may have something else going on, and the Davises down the block may have something else going on. But you, Mr. and Mrs. Client, may have something that's uniquely to you, and that is why we are here today to talk about it. So without further ado, let us get into a better understanding of why someone would choose this over that. Again, it's not your insurance broker that makes that decision. It's you. Now, while I will ask questions, it is not because I want to get into a force field here, forcing something into your possession. It's more or less to figure out what is a good fit. So when does this fit? Well, first of all, we're going to talk about what a term means, and it means a length of time. Okay. It is a length of time. And normally that timeline could be anywhere between 10 to 20 years. And the reason why it could be anywhere between 10 to 20 years is because that's generally the normal rate for a term life policy. Now, who would really look at something like this? Well, we got what average young family anywhere between 30 to 35 years of age. And most likely this is someone who started a family. And in the process of starting that family, they now have home, vehicular expenses. And then, of course, home vehicle expenses, maybe private schools, whatever they got going on. Average family of 4, maybe. And they have, some high, credit debts. But let's be honest, because most of us use credit to support a lot of these things. You have your house, your vehicle, things like that. And so it might not be, even though they're making pretty good money, there's a lifestyle that's associated with that. There's a type of community, there's a type of, good schools and all those things that go into that. So even though you're making pretty good money, and I know what that looks like, that money is really being invested into the family. Okay. And so when they invest that money into the family, it's not a whole lot. Once you save a few dollars here and there, maybe a few investments. And so what happens that a person in this situation would maybe look at this because what they realize is that, and I'm going to say this, they need protection. They know that if one day mother or daddy doesn't come home, that this could be very, very detrimental to their lifestyle and the lifestyle of their children. And so sometimes, it's that anxiety at night where they may not be sleeping well because they realize they have to do something. And another sidebar, I want to make a note. For every $50,000 that you earn, and this is the code, you should have at least $500,000 worth of insurance. And why do we know that? Because we understand what the cost of living looks like. When you break these expenses down, home, vehicles, private schools, all the things associated, price of food and everything going on, clothing to provide for children, $500,000, and that may not even, but that's a good baseline. So if you're doing 100K, you get it. You need $1 million, and so on and so forth. And there's a true story associated with this, but I'll share that maybe in a future video. But for now, what does this person look at? And they say, well, man, I got to protect my family. So someone could do this under a term life relatively inexpensive. A 30, 35-year-old person could probably get some type of coverage for around $100 or so per month. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less, it depends. Smoking, non-smoking, things like that. And so this person can pretty much protect their family if in the event someone is, not able to make it home for some unforeseeable reason, which we don't ever want that. But the protection is there and it's relatively inexpensive because, again, we're talking about a certain age range of people. And usually when you're climbing up that financial ladder in the workplace, 30, 35, 40, that's kind of like where you are when you start really making some money. And so the reality of it is that I'm not here to sell you anything. Your job is to let me know where you fall on the grand scheme of what I'm talking about, because everybody is different. This is what we keep saying, everybody. So in this situation, a family that's maybe cash strapped, know they need some form of protection, don't want to leave nobody holding the bag, and they want to make sure they do some protection. And this, while we know, is a 10 to 20-year time period, so they're very well aware of the length of time. Now, what happens at the end of this time period, for the most part, we're saying the kids are up there in age, they've moved on, they're doing things, and now some of these debts have been reduced because we've been paying down the debts. And so now we're in a situation where, we're like, okay, whatever, we're good. Maybe we've done some kind of a mortgage protection, or something like that. Or maybe we look at it something like this because now we say, well, maybe, we need to protect the mortgage or whatever, depending on if, you guys are in your forever home and you're not moving. But the point is that I want to make sure you understand that there's not about a better product. It's about the best product for you. Now, a person on this side, we know that whole life insurance is going to protect this person for the entire lifetime. We know it's a little more costly. Okay, we know it's a little more costly. All right. However, we know that it accomplishes two types of people. If you're a person who finally woke up one morning and said, I got to do something. I need coverage. I need to protect the fact that I may be checking out soon, and I need to make sure that I cover my basics and my final expenses. You're going to look at a whole life policy anywhere between 10 to 15, maybe even to 20K, depending on what neck of the country you come from. And the reason why you're going to look at this is because you realize you're at a point now you need something to protect you in the event that you pass away. So a person, maybe 55, 60, 65, what have you, is looking at something like this. They don't want to do a term, because who's to say that a 65-year-old person is going to pass away in 10 years or 20 years? Today's technology, we don't know. This person can live a long time. So the main thing is you want to continue to have that policy in place to cover you for that extended period of time. So that's the reality. The most important thing you want to understand is that, once again, just like over here, this is for a specific type of person. So I have to be realistic, and I cannot do a one size fits all if you fall in the range of a senior person who likes to make sure that they don't leave any expenses behind, family members or loved ones to take care of. This is that type of person. There's also a person, now let's be honest, this is going to cost a little bit more. Obviously, this person is not 30 or 35, they may be 60, 65, 70. And we already talked about that insurance is attached to your age. So they might also be paying $100+ or more, maybe even 200. You would hope not. You would hope they wouldn't wait so long to do it, but the reality of it is that they're doing something. And at the end of the day, this side, again, where it is more, it can do more things. Now, it depends. What about a person over here that's looking at things like retirement and supplementing retirement supplemental income? Because it's what? It's tax-free. So a person over here that may have been going along and say, you know what, I don't think my retirement, I'm looking at my numbers and, I've lived this type of lifestyle. And when I retire, I don't think I can just shrink down into this little tiny little box. I may need a little more money to support my income. Well, they're definitely going to look at a whole life policy with cash value in it. Of course they are. I can even show you where a person over here would look at a whole life policy with cash value. What about a person over here who's on this side, who's been using their 401k and their stocks? I know people that go into their stocks to bail out of a rainy day all day, every day. I know them. I know who they are. I know I do it. I know people that go in here when they run into some financial situation. So you can get a young person that's looking at putting away a private stash of convenient cash flow that would look at this situation too, even though it's more costly because they need something for the rainy day. And they know that the IULs grow money a lot faster and more aggressively than some of the vehicles out there that they're using. So they may go over there. And then you may also have the third person who's looking to leave a legacy behind. They're leaving legacies. They know that this sets up the kids and the kids' kids for generations to come. So they have a different mindset. They're looking at the long game. You have some people looking at the short game. You have some people looking at the short game. You have some people looking at the retirement game. You have some people that just are thinking about a family legacy. So this is why I keep saying there's no right or wrong. There's no better or better. Again, it's what product is best for you. What product is best for you and your needs? Because you obviously are one of these people somewhere along the line. You fit in one of these boxes, right? And then there's the box here where someone decides that they recognize that they may want to take a cheaper policy and one day end up converting it into something like this. They may say, right now I don't have the funds to do this, but I eventually do. And I talked about that a little bit earlier, but the convert likes it because the convert is able to what? Hold their place. Because when the policy goes out for review, when they go back and review you, let's say in 10 years, you've developed certain kind of medical conditions, well, those won't be counted against you because you already own the policy. The only thing that would happen is the price would obviously be reflective of a person who's no longer 35, who's now 45. And so you may have to pay that. But, we already talked about that. But the reality of it is you still won't be disqualified for health conditions. And we all know health conditions can change tomorrow. We've all been there. So I'm not going to go too much further. I really, really enjoyed talking with you today. And I really hope and pray that this makes sense. Do not let anyone just sell you any policy just because. Communicate your needs. Communicate your personal situation. And then you allow your consultant to put you where you belong based on your needs and not theirs. I'm Ron Graham, as always. I'm your guy. You need anything, call me, hit the link below, send me an email, send me a text. I'm here for you to answer any questions you need. Have a wonderful day now. Thank you guys. Peace.